Join me as I make a sourdough bread in my Zojirushi bread machine. Welcome to White Shadow Fare. Make it homemade and make it with love. So the first thing you're going to do is get some bread flour and make sure that you fluff up your bread flour. Just kind of stir it around a little bit. It does get compacted over time. 1 cup level scoop of bread flour and put that in the bottom of the bread machine. Now normally the Zojirushi says to put liquids in first, but I am following a recipe here, so I'm going to follow what they said. I was lucky to get a used version of the Virtuoso Zojirushi bread machine on Facebook Marketplace. I use Redmond's real salt, 1 teaspoon, and after you get that put in, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now this is a recipe from the Fresh Loaf. To this you're going to add 2 cups of active starter, and you can see that my starter is nice and bubbly. Lots of activity in there, 2 cups of that. Please hit that thumbs up down below and subscribe if you haven't already done so. It would really mean a lot to me. The Zojirushi bread machine has a custom feature, so you can put in all of the times, and that's what we're going to be using today. Now, I have no idea why, but I did not grab a spatula here, so I am using my finger. It works just fine. I do, of course, wash my hands before I start any cooking, but I suggest a spatula. One tablespoon of butter that I'm just cutting into small cubes and I'm putting around, not just throwing it all in one area, and that is softened butter. One tablespoon of milk. I believe the recipe called for milk powder, but I decided to use milk. Another cup of bread flour goes on top of that. And then you are going to do the custom mode on this. So we're going to start with a 30-minute rest, and that just brings everything to temperature, and then it is going to knead for 18 minutes. And once it starts kneading, because it's the first time I'm making this, I'm opening it up and checking in on the dough to make sure that it has enough hydration or if it needs more flour added to it. I felt the dough, felt that it was a little too stiff, so I'm adding about 1/8 of a cup of water. And sourdough is delicious. I love making it in the oven, but if I could make it in my bread machine and make my life easier, I'm willing to give that a try. So every minute or two, I am opening the door, keeping my eye on the dough until I get it to the right hydration. I felt that it was still too stiff, so I'm adding another 1/8 of a cup of water. So now I've added 1/4 of a cup total. And look how thick and stiff this dough is. I am following a recipe, but it needed more water. So I cut it with a knife so it would hydrate more evenly while it is kneading. I only have 18 minutes of kneading time, so I couldn't waste that precious kneading time with such thick dough. And here I am just wiping some of the splashes off. I will have the link listed below, but here we're doing 18 minutes of kneading, and then it is going to rise 3 different times for 1 hour and 30 minutes each, and then it will bake at the end. So this is right before the bake begins. So at the 5 hour and 15 minutes from when I started, I'm scoring my loaf. Was a beautiful loaf, and I will definitely be making this again. I will just add some water to it when I put my starter in. Cool it, slice it, and then totally enjoy it. It is fantastic. I couldn't believe that I made sourdough. No yeast other than my natural starter. The crumb was nice. It was soft. It was perfect for our dinner that night. So yeah, you can make sourdough in your Zojirushi or in other bread machines if they have a custom mode. I'm glad I bought this barely used bread machine. I'm having a lot of fun experimenting with it. Once I get the recipe down, I will be able to put everything in the bread machine, walk away. Later, I will have homemade fresh sourdough. It was successful, and if I improve upon this recipe, I will let you know. If you have a Zojirushi bread machine, you can make sourdough. Please give this a try, and thank you for joining me at White Shadow Fare.